Yay, everybody, welcome. Welcome to Growing Good Humans. I'm so happy that you're here today to join our podcast. My name is Laura Barr. I'm the owner and founder of Emerging Educational Consulting. We provide one-to-one mentorship for students from the beginning to end of the application process. And when people ask me what I do, I say I wake up every day to grow good humans. And what better way to grow good humans than to impact and transform with education. And today our focus is going to be a little bit of a shift. I have beside myself to invite Michelle Chessler, who is one of the staff of CU Career Services. And the reason I really wanted to bring her on is because this idea of college for us isn't just college. It's what happens after college. We're not just, oh, let's get into college. We're doing this because we're growing good humans who feel like they are contributing to the planet when they leave college. And our curriculum, the capstone curriculum, actually includes the Colorado and career standards in our work with our students. So when I met Michelle, I said, please, will you join us? Will you share with us a little bit about what happens at a career services at a university? You happen to be in our home state, which is great. So we can learn more about CU in particular. But Michelle, why don't you just introduce yourself, how you got into this, and then let's just dive in. We have questions from the audience already. So let's just get going.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks so much for having me. And this is a whole lot of fun. I have decades of experience being on the other side of the desk, being a marketing executive in the tech field. And my most favorite thing was coaching and mentoring, especially early entry employees, and also participating in tons of interviews and salary negotiations and all the things that go with career on the other side of the desk. But this year I got the opportunity to take a pivot and join career services at CU as a career advisor, as Laura said. And I'm really enjoying being kind of in that, what's in this black box that's career services, and really kind of sharing that with other parents and other people going through this. I'm a mother of two teenage boys. They're juniors right now, and they're starting to look at colleges. And it's really made me think, when we do our college visits, what are we expecting of career and career services when we make our college choices? And so that's what was getting me kind of having these conversations with you of saying, gosh, I bet other parents are thinking like me, like, what should I be looking for? Or what do I expect of career services? So that's what I hope we can talk about a little bit today.
You know what, it's interesting too, is because I say freshmen in high school, I'd like to be having conversations about college with freshmen in high school. And so for a lot of families, they say, oh, that's too early. And by the time we have our juniors and seniors, we're saying, let's get that LinkedIn account. Let's start talking to families, and let's talking to other people about the careers they have in the world, and doing career inventories and things like that. So do you think there's people who feel like it's too early to have this conversation as a junior and a freshman in college?
I'll tell you what gives me the most anxiety is when I meet with a senior in college who's just getting started with career services. And sadly, it happens more than you'd like to know. And even juniors, I feel like it's too late. Where at this point, they've missed so much of the opportunity that college can offer them with these, what we call stackable experiences, with all these things they could be doing in their 4 years or however long they're in college, of getting that preparation for real world needs to start early. When I was thinking about recently, the analogy of like middle school is that weird, strange 3 years or whatever that prepares you to how to be a high schooler. College is those 4 years or so that it prepares you to be an independent professional working person. And so in those 4 years, your job is to prepare yourself and think about, what am I doing now that's going to get me ready? And so I don't just wake up as a senior one day and go, oh, what could I have done better these last 4 years? So I always say the earlier the better. And it's maybe intimidating or maybe unusual to think about career services as a freshman. But if you can get those experiences early with on-campus jobs or clubs or organizations or places that you can start getting those experiences, the career services organization can help with that. And so coming in and understanding, so what can career services offer me? Touch up that resume, make sure you know how to use an AI resume, and all those things are really good excuses to start young, start early.
We definitely have it on ours that they should be at career services within the first month of getting on campus. Well, you and I didn't talk about exactly what we were going to talk about today, but you said stackable experiences. I'm interested in that. Tell me more about that.
Stackable experiences are, when you look at your resume, the education line is one line. I mean, it's your name and then it's your education. And then the 80% of your resume that's left for you to architect are your stackable experiences. And so, I don't think that you can really look at your degree and say, this degree is going to get me my job. It's that degree with everything that's stacked up with it that's going to get you that next role. And that is anything from internships and jobs, but also what a lot of students forget is coursework and other kinds of clubs and leadership experiences they have, whether that's Greek system or even just being a leader in their classroom or in their group project. And so often I look at these resumes that the students are bringing me in, and I say, okay, I'm glad that you have some work experience, like maybe you were a waiter or food service, or maybe you worked in the dorms, or whatever those jobs were. But let's talk about your coursework, because that's so relevant to your career journey. If you were a psychology major, let's talk about those projects you did as a psych major, and what were the outcomes of those projects. And so these things are stackable on top of that education line, and really looking at how that rounds you out. Even volunteering, often students don't think about how volunteering could work out. That talks about what kind of human you are and brings a little bit more personality and humanistic approach to your resume. So looking at all those things, how they stack up, is what's going to make that career journey more effective for students, and they start thinking about that as freshmen or now.
So they're just starting over what we've been working with them on since they started freshman year, is like what you prove who you are and your character and what you care about by the things you do in your life. And so we always say, we're like, this is who I am, prove it. And the way we prove it is through this, what we call resume, but in a lot of ways, it's just a character. We like to refer it as like a character sheet in some ways. And and I love the word you used, you get to architect it. Yeah. That's really neat. Like, you're the architect of your life, and you do that so that you can prove who you are ultimately first to colleges and then to people out in the field. Now, listen, who are hiring, how, besides just resumes and, these providing some of these stackable experiences, how else do career services guide, like map it out for us?
So here's the things that I think back in the old days, career services was like a placement office. And you walked in the office and you looked for jobs. I mean, this is maybe dating myself. That is not the expectation of career services. Career services is career enablement, and that's about being a partner with the student as they tackle their career journey. And so that's whatever they need, which could sound overwhelming, but it's meeting the student where they are, when they are, and what they need to take that next step. So most obvious is resumes and cover letters. That's like very much like most of the time people are coming in for resumes and cover letters. But where I really light up, and what I want to see more students do, is really explore the opportunities that they have ahead of them with their major. So as a freshman, let's say you're a psychology major, which is a very popular major. What do you want to do with that major? What about that major excites you? And that major can go in so many different directions. And maybe the first thought out of high school was clinical, and maybe they thought, I'm going to do therapy. But once they get into it, maybe they're like, maybe not so much that. Maybe I want to take it into a different way. And by the way, it's the study of the human mind. All businesses are made of humans. And so you can take that career or that major in so many places. And so I sit down with a lot of students, and we just literally go through, well, what can I do with this major? And we see what sparks light up. And now it's in college where they've actually taken much more applicable courses. And so, like when you, Laura, and your team, you have these meetings with these teenagers, they haven't really had that many electives yet. They've taken their core classes, and maybe they've taken what we would call the 101 of some major or some topic. But it's not until you get to college that you get to unpack all those, and then you see, do I like the science side, or do I like the human side, or whatever that direction is. And now you can really start sparking interest in where you should go. So Career services does, let's say, mechanical stuff like resumes and cover letters and those type of tools that you need. But we also do this exploratory work like you do, but now it's a little bit more mind expansive because they have a bigger portfolio to work from than they had when they were teenagers. And then we get into some really tactical, like, let's do mock interviews and let's really get you ready for that interview. Let's work on your personal brand and what you want to stand for when you have these interviews. And let's work on salary negotiation. That's one of my favorite. When someone comes in and says, I got the offer, now what? And they just want to say yes. I'm like, no, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to help them. He's like, don't say yes too soon. I got some things I want you to ask. And I think career services gives them that feeling of confidence that they're not in it alone. And so that department is there for, like I said, meets you where you are when you are to kind of tackle those big challenges.
Let's talk a little bit about skills. We've talked about stackable experiences. Are there such thing as stacking skills, certifications? Tell me about, or is there like a most important skill that students should have on a resume?
So we call them transferable skills. And I tell students when they come and they get insecure, I only have food service jobs, or, they think what they have was so minimal. And then I show them that everything they're doing has transferable skills. And those are things like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, teamwork. These are all big words that are on the buzzword list for employers, especially because they're hiring for culture fit and team fit, and they want humans that are able to think in terms of bigger picture of what does this skill or task mean to a larger picture. And so taking these jobs that sound entry level, like maybe what they're doing in high school or early college, you can turn anything into those transferable skills I just mentioned. And even just saying, like, I served customers. Well, did you? Because really maybe you were a professional at excelling at customer experience and delivery to promote the best workplace possible. Or I'm riffing here, but I think the idea is these transferable skills is what employers are looking for, and not that you worked off of serving a menu or handled the check at the end of the meal. But what did you do in that practice that shows me that you can take that capability and bring it into the workplace? So I think that those main transferable skills are things that are looking for on the resume, and that is a top skill. And it's kind of what you asked for, but not really, is they have got to get comfortable with networking. And I think that the big thing that, the competition for jobs is hot. And if you just hide behind a button that says click here to apply, you're just in a sea of anonymity. And what's really going to make the difference is getting comfortable with networking. And we call them career conversations here because maybe the word networking sounds too big. But this idea of conversing with others and trying to navigate career and make you stand out amongst a crowd is a skill that needs to be learned early and get comfortable with it, because that's what's going to get the job, is to know, for people to know you as a person and for you to know more about what's going on the other side of the desk when you have those networking conversations. So getting it started with that early too is a very important skill.
How do you have top tips on that? Like, tell us some top tips on creating those conversations.
Well, I have a handout from CU that I use that's sort of the career conversations. But what I say is, first of all, have your pitch, like your brand or your elevator pitch of what is it that you are inspired by, or what sparks your interest that you want to know more about. And that might just be reaching out to somebody and say, hey, I'm an early grad, I'm exploring this major, and I would love to learn more about your career journey, Laura, and how you got to where you are, and what advice you might give to me. Would you give me 30 minutes of your time? And it's that little short snippet can be used in any conversation of showing I'm curious, I want to know more about you, And guess what we like to talk about the most? Ourselves. So, when you're asking somebody, will you help me and tell me more about yourself so I can help my journey? Most people will light up and want to do that. Um, CU has a networking platform for it. And so I do some training on that platform to show people, here's how you would navigate that. And I give them sort of like, I don't know, a little bit of a drive-by on how to do that, use that tool. But that's the same with LinkedIn. And looking for these people, and maybe it's a little less intimidating to do it over email or digital and ask for that favor, but then getting on a video call, meeting somebody for coffee, and just asking them more about themselves, and that person will probably say, you should talk to you, and that could lead to 2 more meetings, and that's the beginning of planting the seeds that we kind of show people. Like, look, it's the first one is the one that will be the most awkward, and then it's going to be, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more.
You reminded me that one of the most difficult questions we know our students have to answer in the college process in interviews is the question of, tell me about yourself, right? And to have a pitch, I have different pitches for different venues. I'm a writer, so when I'm in my writer venue, I say something different than if I'm doing parent coaching or if I'm just out with friends talking about the things that I love, right? There's different pitches for different places where it's appropriate to share some things and not others. We use personality inventories. Does CU Boulder do that as well?
Yes. So CU Boulder, and they're on this, like anybody listening can go to CU's site. It's a little hard to navigate, but there's all kinds of card sorts and things on the website for free that anybody can use, and they're applicable to any university about determining your values or your skills and interest inventory. Those are all out there. They're 15-minute little strongly agree, strongly disagree. But the nice thing is it gives you the words. Like when I ask people to the tell me about yourself question is what I work on the most. I mean, that is a guaranteed question in an interview and a guaranteed trip up every time. Mm-hmm. And so you need to find those words that can describe you and you can rattle off pretty confidently in these interviews that are like, come from these value card sorts or these skill industries. And it might be, I have a passion for collaboration and teamwork. I love working with people. These are all things that would come from those type of card sorts that you mentioned. But the key is practice and getting comfortable with it. And any career, I'm confident that career services at any university would offer mock interviews. I mean, I do them all the time. And I think that tell you about yourself, you're right. You have to architect that different for every, you're modifying it or tailoring it for every different job because you want to really match yourself to whatever that career or whatever that job's looking for. But I tell people no more than 30 seconds, and it's going to be asked. And even if they don't ask it, you should start the interview with, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I mean, offer it. Yeah. Because it's the rapport building, it's the icebreaker, and it's your opportunity to own the interview before they have questions for you. So, it sets the bar where you want it to be before they can set it for you.
That's great. Let's shift a little bit. I was actually on another webinar recently with someone from CU from Exploratory Studies, and he was talking about that program, and it's an amazing program, by the way. One of the things he was talking about is major, right? That students who go into school and they don't have a major and they're in exploratory studies. And then he was talking about, okay, this pending job market and AI and all of this. Does major matter in your world in career services?
It's hard to say, but I don't think major matters as much as your stackable experiences. And so I think the major that lights you up and you're your super you is your major. And I think you erase the word AI or you erase the word job and think, when am I going to be my best self? And if you can find that major that you enjoy every class you're taking and each thing makes you more curious and passionate, that's your major. And then there's a career for you. because you've done your best work and you were the most excited in that major. If you try to pick a major, if you try to game it, like today, I'm going to pick a major that I think is marketable 4 years from now. I mean, what, 6 months ago, we would have picked a different major than we picked today. And so I don't think that that's the right move, is to say, what's a marketable major? Because 4 years from now, who the heck knows? But what we do know is when you do your best work and you are excited to go to class every day, and you maybe seek out more opportunities because it's fun, and your major becomes something that is fun for you, you're gonna get the most experience out of your college career, and you're gonna then come to career services and say, this is my major and I loved it, but I don't know what to do with this major, and then we'll help you.
Mm-hmm. I like that answer. There's so much anxiety for so many people right now around how AI is going to impact. And in all of these conversations we're having, different people are saying so many different things. I attend, 3 or 4 a week from universities all over the country. And honestly, you would never know what to make of it. So I appreciate your answer, which is, it's hard to know, but in the end, and what's the language you used? It's really good. Is the major that's your best you? Like, is that something that you could say again? Do you remember?
I guess. Sometimes they say really good things, and I was like, shoot, should have written that
I
down.
know. I don't know if you could say it again. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's the major that makes you're super you, or lights you up.
Okay.
And I just think that, I was thinking about this the other day too, and that this is, again, dating myself, but there was a point that people were freaked out by the internet, right? And right? Okay, so now I'm like super dating myself. But if you were to be like, oh my God, the internet's going to get rid of all these brick and mortar shops, and there's not going to be any more retail. And I mean, think about what was going on when the internet came around, and everything was going to be online, and all these people are going to lose their jobs. And then it settled down, right? And it's like, and if we went and got a major called the internet, right, back then, I mean, they're coming up with majors now that are like AI technician. I don't know what they are, but like, there's degrees and things in AI, and I guess because as you go through the cyclical nature of the world of work, you just think, is that a sustainable? That's not an industry. That's not a capability. It's just a thing that's happening right now, and it's going to settle, and it's going to be in the water. It's good to be aware of it, and it's good to take classes in it. But if you said, I'm going to be an AI major because that's going to be the most marketable in 4 years, is it? Like, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say that sounds forced and maybe not what would light me up. I would want to be thinking about what am I doing as the world changes and incorporates this new kind of way of work, and how can I be a part of it? And maybe that has AI in it, maybe it doesn't, but I don't know. I hope we kind of look back at this generation and giggle, go, remember they invented AI? So anyway, that's my way of looking at it, is just what lights you up.
I think our stance is a lot of curiosity, but also the ability for, AI in the ways we have access to it right now is to elevate your learning and your passions as much as you can. Because what the opportunity to elevate understanding of certain concepts or passions or things that do light you up are just, there's so much opportunity to be on fire with learning. And I think that no matter whether you're an educator or you're hiring someone, to have someone who walks in and feels curious, adaptable, dedicated, those kind of words that really show you're going to be part of a community, whether it's a work community or a club community or whatever. I think that is always just such a refreshing feeling when you're talking to somebody.
I also just think, and this is from my world of work, being an executive for so long, companies are made up of people from all generations. And I know when I was hiring people, I wanted the next generation workforce to come in who was so much more comfortable with the new technology and the new way of looking at things and how that gets incorporated into work. Whereas some of the older generation isn't as comfortable there and is looking for this new generation to lift up organizations and be more modern, right? And like I came from the construction technology industry, which is the most laggard, maybe up there as a laggard industry. And there's so many people that are aging out of that industry, but they just don't have the ability to change or the comfort level to change. But if we could bring in this new generation of workforce that is comfortable with technology, there's the organizations that are out there are needing our workforce to change. And these students are the ones that are going to do it. And so instead of saying AI is writing me out of a job, which it's not, it's more about how do I bring that in as is my superpower? Because this generation, all the classes are going to be incorporating it, or the students are leveraging it, and that's not still normal in the workplace. So I think if you turn around and think, what do I bring, my values, interests, personalities, and skills to the workplace, and knowing that I'm a modern worker because I'm this technology comfort student, the organizations are lacking that. Big companies are definitely lacking that. That's where I came from. So I don't know. I feel like I could give some confidence to these kids, these students that are interviewing. I'm like, you don't understand. They don't have what you have. They need what you have.
Yeah. I love that. I can't believe it. It's already almost 30 minutes has passed, but I think I would like to have us finish up with the conversation around what should families look for when they're looking for schools in career services. I know for a fact CU has a standout career services. Do all schools have these now? Is there something special families should look for? And then we'll wrap our conversation up.
That's a great question, and I tackle it too. So I'm on the hunt. I'm looking at universities myself for my kids and thinking like, okay, what are the questions that I should be asking? So, I mean, clearly you want to know, they all have career services, and you would like to know what size are they and how are they organized? Are they organized by major? Or are they organized by college? Like we're organized by business, engineering, arts, and sciences. How are they organized? Because depending on your student's major, that could make a difference. But how is a university prioritizing career services? Is it on the hot list of something that they're growing and investing in? Is it incorporated into the curriculum? Are the professors and are they teaching to the world of work, or are they teaching academia? And because you can take an English class, but if they're incorporating how does this matter to the workforce into the curriculum, it makes a big difference to how usable that's going to be when they graduate. Ask how they support students postgraduate. We say at CU, you're a forever buff. So career services is here for life. For any graduate of CU. And so it's unlimited. You can work with us forever. And so that's a really important factor to ask. Like, does it get shut off when I graduate? And I would say, how do they facilitate alumni networking? And I already mentioned this before about networking being the secret sauce. How do they facilitate, besides LinkedIn, which anybody can do, but how do I find my people? When I graduate and I move back to wherever I came from, to wherever I went, how am I going to find my people? Because that alumni network is kind of a big part of what you're paying for when you're picking your university. So like CU has a Forever Buffs network, and you can find other buffs on that network to help with career conversations. So I would definitely be asking about that, and maybe just about their career events and their professional pipeline, like where are they bringing in businesses for recruiting and their internship pipeline. They'll trip up. It's hard to answer those questions, but I think there's just that whole curiosity of how does career services connect to post grad, and really like putting those metrics to their delivery is really critical.
That's great. I'm going to make sure we write those down, and we'll make sure families have access to those anyone who listened today, and then we'll put it out there to the parent community, because I think those questions are really important. This is why you're sending your student to college, to launch, not just to have a good time and eat sushi at the cafeteria.
Yep.
So thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. I think it's that so many students are so committed to the college search, and so many of our students in particular really do see that there is something past college and they want to access it, but there doesn't seem to always be a path to how to get there. So it's really great to know our home state has such an incredible program, and now we have a pathway to invite others to be able to ask questions to find pathways at the schools that they choose. So thank you. Your knowledge is very valuable.
Excellent. It's so fun. Thanks for letting me have the conversation with you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.